Well, hello. In this video, we will be learning how to set up codeIgniter 2.x and try to explain MVC pattern and how codeIgniter deal with files in MVC pattern. So let's start by downloading codeIgniter, the 2.2 version stable. I already did that. And then you copy it to your www folder. So, for example, this one, 2.2.2 in my case. And then you can rename it whatever you want. For example, I renamed it to project. So this is a codeIgniter project. Then when you go inside, you'll have three main folders: application, system, user guide. All your work will be in this folder, application. In this folder you will have three main folders or directories: controllers, views, and models. So instead of using Windows Explorer, I like to use a small piece of software which is called codeIgniter. So my models will be open here. So project, application, models, and then my views will be here: project, application, views, and my controllers will be here: project, application, controllers. And I usually use this fourth tab or fourth window to browse other interesting or important folders. And you can have many tabs in one window, so it's really convenient. Okay, so once you've done this, there are a few steps to get started, but let's see for now, let's see the main work, how codeIgniter works. So number one, when you okay, let's see it in action. Let's go to my localhost and then go to project, because our codeIgniter is inside project, and then you'll have this main window which is welcome to codeIgniter, something like that. Okay, so that's how it works. The engine, the codeIgniter engine, will go and call the default controller, which is welcome.php in our case, and this welcome.php will call the view, which is this welcome message. So if we can see it here, by default, and we will talk about default rules, routes later, codeIgniter is going to call welcome.php, and PHP is going to call welcome message. So there is no index or something like a traditional PHP or HTML. The controller is going to call the view. So let's take a look inside the welcome.php. So you have the class welcome, and this class name should be, this class name should have the same name as the file name. So this is very important. So if you make a mistake, for example, if you add something like that and refresh here, you will have an error. So make sure that you, and this rule is available everywhere in controllers, models, and views. So each time you give a name to your class, it has to have the same name of your file. After that, when we call the welcome controller, the default method will be the method index. So if you want to call another method, we will see how to call another method. I created here, for example's sake, for example, a method A and a method B, and we will see how we can call those two methods. So let's see what's going on in index, which is the default method. When you call welcome, index will be called, and then we will call this method. This load, the load method, load view welcome message. So you will be calling this file welcome message. So if you take a look here, you have welcome message, and you don't need to specify the PHP. You don't have to. So you have to omit the .php here. .php is wrong. Okay, so you just call the load view. So that's how it works. Now let's take a look at the view. So the view is basically a HTML file, and of course it's a PHP file. But you can mix PHP and HTML, but mostly it's not. There is no logic inside the view. There is no conditions and controlling things. So it's mostly HTML files. Here you will be able to put your HTML, CSS, and jQuery or JavaScript code, whatever library you think you will be needing. So now that's it. That's the core of how codeIgniter works. Now I'm sure you will be asking how do we connect to the database. codeIgniter is a loose MVC, which is you don't really need to use a model, but if you want, you can use. So it's not like other frameworks which they push you and they oblige you to use a model. So in our case, you can use only a controller and a view, and that's fine. And this is very convenient if you are trying to make a multi-templated website with different templates and stuff like that. So your controller will have several methods, and each method will call the view that is it's corresponding to the method call. You will be understanding this with example. So let's go to our welcome again, and I created another method which called method A, and in this method A it's going to go to load the view do view. So this load view do view. So we are going to call another view, and again it's .php and it's inside the view folder. So I created this do view, and just we will be typing something. This do view, yeah, okay, let's just echo 1, and let's comment this for now. So when we call do view, we will just be showing number 1. So let's do that. How do we do that? Now, in project, notice that we don't have anything, but by default, you have something like that. It's called index.php. Okay, and then that's what you will see. After index.php, you will have to type the name of your controller. In our case, it's welcome. And welcome is calling the first method inside the welcome file. So we are here. We are here. And this index is calling this file. Okay. Now, if we want to call this method, we have to specify the name of the method. So I will be doing this. I will be calling the method name instead of just index. So what we have our controller and then our method. And then if I call the method B, which we didn't see how it works yet, the method B will do something else. The method B is going to load a model. So here we are going to call this file, and here I didn't call it yet, so model A, I guess. Yes. So this model A, and this model, what's a model? It's just a class that should have the same name as the file again. Model. And this is very tricky. If you just start with codeIgniter, you will definitely have a problem here if you forget to give a name. So it happens to me all the time. Okay, so after that, you will create a method inside this this class, and you will have your query. So in my case here, I'm making a simple query, and I'm just selecting all the products from a product table, and then you assign a variable to this query, and you query the string, which is you can see it. So after that, you return the Q result, and this return will be used by the controller. So again, in your class you have your method, in your method you have your query, and you execute your query and you return your query. So that's it. After that, you go back to your controller, and then when you load the model, this model, so we can access all the methods inside. So we go and call okay, let's not look at this first. After that, what we will do, this too, we don't need it yet. So after that, we will be calling this model, a model, which is the method which is inside, which is the class name, which is our model name, and then you will call the method inside the model. So this one. After that, you will be loading the view as we did before, and this time we will send some information. So for example, we are calling the do view, and we are sending the A array, and this A array will contain a key, for example products. So if we go to the view now, if we want to retrieve the information from the view, this key will become a variable. So let's do that. Let's go to do view, and then let me comment this one. Okay, just what's wrong? Okay, so as you can see here, product is an array that was passed from the controller. So if you notice, we don't call A is gone. So we just retrieve the key which is inside the product. So here, for example, products, products, and you will have just to retrieve product. So where is the view again? So here, what I'm doing, I'm just retrieving and echoing. This is just simple PHP. Okay, so how do we reach here? So first, we have to call the method B. So let's do that. and you can see it's working. So here we have ID. What else do we have? In the view, we have ID, name, description. Okay. I will be talking about this because we didn't talk about it. This is a call to the library. So just let me refresh again, and you can see this is what we have. So that's how you connect to your database. Now, another option that you can use in codeIgniter is you can use a libraries. When you have some functions like custom functions that you would like to use, you can use that in codeIgniter. So what you have to do, you have to go and create your own library. So if I go to application again, and oh, sorry, hold on, let me just go to this same folder. Yes, so here you have your controllers and models and views. Controllers, models and views, and you have another folder which is called libraries. And here you can create your own library and your own functions. So this is an example. And inside the library, again, the class name should match the file name. And maybe this is, you can read about the constructors and the other stuff in libraries in the documentation. And then I created a function, a method again, which is called crypt, and then it will be waiting for an argument, and this argument we will be crypting this argument and returning it. So if you type hello, this hello will be encrypted with the function SHA-1, and then it will be returned. So you can use this library inside your controller. Okay, let's go back to the controller, and this time we will be calling this library. So how do you load the library? Okay, say this load library, and you give the name of your library. After that, you call this library, and you call the functions or method inside this library, and then you give a string, and this string will be passed to the library. You will do some work with this string, and then you will return it. It's a good idea to have an array, I call it A, and inside this array you will have some keys, and then you will pass the array to the view. So for example, the previous result from database, I give it a key name product, and this time my variable from my library, I call it my result. So I will be dealing with two variables in the view, products and my result. Okay, so let's go back to the view that we called, and what I was doing, I was just echoing a result. Okay, so maybe I will duplicate this one just to have a nice result. So this is the password that I typed inside the library. Okay, so that's how codeIgniter works. Another thing I would like to point is, how did I do all those things? How did I connect to my database, and how did I use other stuff? So those are the techniques that I use to, the configuration, the initial configuration that I use. I didn't want to bore you with those details, but this is how it works. You go to your config.php, which is located inside the okay, it's located here in the config, application config, and here you have so what we were talking, we said config. So if you go to config, and then in our case here, well, this is your domain, and then you can you just put your base URL, and we will be needing this base URL to call it in for example, if you want to call your CSS or JavaScript or all the things like that, you will be using this base URL a lot. Okay, so next, encryption key. If you're using a session, you definitely have to use the encryption key, otherwise you will have an error generated in codeIgniter, and it will prompt you to use a secret key or okay, so session, what was it again? Encryption key. So for example here you can type whatever you want. Okay. Okay, next we will, of course you have to go to your database and connect it to your database. For example, I have a database called Database USA, but you can database name, for example here, whatever you want here. And let's take a look at this. So database, and here are the information that you have to fill in. And next, you have some libraries that, if you have some libraries that you would like to load, in our case, as I said, MVC, codeIgniter is a loose MVC, so you can use it with or without database. And if you want to use database, you definitely have to autoload or load libraries. Session, I needed a session in, if you want to, if you need a session. If you need other libraries, you can separate them by a comma. And those libraries are located in this folder. So let's go back in this folder. So application, you can go a little bit up in system, and you have libraries. So all codeIgniter libraries are here, and you can find more about those libraries if you go to the codeIgniter main website. Good. If you go to the documentation, and here you have the classes and libraries and all the things that you need. Okay, next we will be talking about routes very quickly. So routes is a technique, a very nice technique in codeIgniter. If you want to route, let's say you have you want to write something here, for example, ABC dash a number 1, 2, 3. For example, you would like this to be called, instead of this, it will call the ABC, let's say AB dash XYZ. And you want to transform this URL to something like that. You want to transform it to something like that. This will be this. Oops. It will be a method ABC, controller ABC dash method. It's okay. XYZ, and then it will accept this as a parameter 1, 2, 3. So you can do this in your routes. So it's like a mod rewrite in htaccess, and it looks something like that. Routes, yes. For example, the default controller, you can say it's home or welcome or whatever. I made some routing example in a previous project. For example, each time, and this is a regex, a regular expression here. and then you have, for example, a product slash anything one or more dash item dash any number or more anything or more, and whatever you are interested in you can put it between parentheses here. This is like I am focusing on this pattern, on this number here, and whatever you type here will be transformed into products, details, and the $1. $1 is what you have been focused on. So in this case, if I had to take this route, and let me give you an example how it will look like. This will be something like that. For example, product blah 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 dash item dash 1 2 3 4, and then blah 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 blah. So what are we interested in? We are only interested in this. So this will be equal to product dash details dash, and then 1 2 3 4. So you can see that this mumbo jumbo text has been translated into this clean URL, and this is my controller, and this is my method, and this is my parameter of the method. I didn't speak about the parameter, but let's take a look at it very quick. If you go to my welcome controller, and let's say in method A, and let's say this method A will accept a parameter. Let's say call it I, okay, and then it will echo I, and then let's say we want to comment this. Okay, so let's take a look at it. We said project index welcome foo, not this time. We are going to call method A. Warning, missing argument. So there's something is wrong. So let's say tag 88, and then you can see that this is the argument that we passed: controller, method, argument or parameter. So this is in a nutshell codeIgniter. Very quick. One extra thing, sorry, I forgot about this. If you want to get rid of this index.php at the beginning, which I really don't like it, and you can either use two methods. You can use the routing technique, this one. So you can try to think about it, how you can get rid of the index.php, or you can use the htaccess. And this is the htaccess that is specific for my project. For example, I have a folder ushop here, and you can use whatever you want. And this htaccess will be placed in here. So if you go up, project, yes, and so www, the name of your project, and then htaccess here. So let me take a look at it very quick, and this is how it looks like. Okay, I'm sorry this tutorial has been a little bit long, but I really wanted to explore everything about most of the main things about codeIgniter. I hope you learned something, and take care.